Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Gojo and Marin, and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about My Dress Up Darling chapter 105. So, what did I think about this week's chapter? Honestly, I thought this week's chapter was a roller coaster of emotions. I thought it was a fantastic chapter by Fukuda, and it really showcased Gojo's inner struggle that he's dealing with right now at the moment, as well as we get to see some conflict being developed by Marin and how she's feeling about the whole situation, and we get to see a little bit of her point of view about the whole issue at hand, which is, them being spread apart and kind of feeling very distant, and it was very heartbreaking to see. Now, before I go any further with this week's chapter, I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my anime and manga, as well as all my Dress Up Darling content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's chapter. One last thing to note, I'm currently on vacation, so I'm like on the road, so that's why you see like not my setup or anything. So, and by the way, happy 4th of July. I'm actually in California just to celebrate with some of my girlfriend's family members, so that's why I'm on the road. But yeah, just in case you guys were wondering why. Now, what happens is pretty much, as my camera is falling down, let me fix it. Yeah, I'm going it's very awkward, guys, I know, bear with me. Now, as the chapter starts off, is pretty much we see that Gojo is having thoughts about Marin. He's thinking about what Marin said, like about, can you make cosplays for me? And it's very like, Gojo's kind of like at odds with it. He's like, he wakes up with it and he's realizing like, man, like, his feelings for Marin. I think he's practically now realizing like the conflict that he's been dealing with about him being able to achieve his dream of becoming a famous Hina doll maker, but also him taking care of Marin's cosplays and how that's a conflict of interest. And you see pretty much how what happens is we cut back to a point of view of Marin at school, and I forget the guy's name, but the guy that has like, he watches like the rom-com slice of lives. He has like he always puts like a face mask on him. That guy's asking Marin about like, hey, do you know of any, like, do you know where Gojo is? He's like, no, why would I know that? And then you see Marin kind of like a stuck-up attitude, and the guy's like, whoa, like, what's that about? Like, well, of course you, like, what's wrong? Like, is something wrong? And we see then Marin gets invited to karaoke. She goes with Noah and her friends, and you see Marin just absolutely very depressed. She looks very sad, and it's very heartbreaking because especially what's not helping at all is that Noah is singing like this heartbreak song. We're talking about like, oh, give me a love call, baby, ooh, fix things and all this. Like, it's like a very heartbreaking song and all that. So I'm just like, and Marin is just there listening to it while Noah's having the time of her life, and Marin's just suffering because the guy that she likes is not paying attention to her. So it's very funny, yet very heartbreaking at the same time. And pretty much what we see is we cut back to Gojo, and we see pretty much that Gojo is actually he's walking down the street and he stumbles upon a character we haven't seen in a long time, and that's the Swallowtail guy, the guy that works at that shop from the earlier chapters for the Chizuku-tan, and even with the Amane when he gets the fake props for the breast. Gojo goes there and meets the Swallowtail guy, or he doesn't go to the store, but they just stumble upon each other in the street, and the guy's like, hey, long time no see, Gojo, how you been? And Gojo's like, oh. And pretty much what happens is the guy pretty much sits down and becomes like Gojo's little therapist for a time being, because I believe Gojo just lets it all out about how he's feeling. We don't see Gojo's dialogue at all, which is a very important thing, but we can presume what it is. His inner conflict about doing what he wants to do, and hanging out with Marin. And the guy's like, oh, that's a tough one. I'll tell you what though, let me give you a little bit of from my experience, a little bit of something that happened to myself, just so you get an idea of something that I dealt with like this in the past. And the guy proceeds to tell him how he got to the Swallowtail, how he came to be the person that he is today. And he pretty much breaks down how growing up he wanted to become like a guy that makes clothes, and his father really didn't approve of that. He was very against it. And what happens is it got to the point that it really was starting to get to him, like, mentally. And he was like, okay, well, I gotta prove him wrong. I gotta make sure that I become like a famous clothes developer, what are they called, clothes designer, the designer, there you go, I guess. I'm gonna make clothes everywhere. And yet I realized there's so many companies out there, like there's so many people that already have brands out, like what makes me special? And then I started to realize like what the guy pretty much says is like, I started to realize like life is just about like taking risk and like doing what you have to do, no matter, even if what people say it might not work, go for it. Because, and then we see that the guy's telling Gojo like his own story, how he met his wife, and how he, Jesus Christ, if you heard that, that is loud. My man is Tokyo drifting. Hey, I'm not editing none of this, man. I'm on vacation right now, so y'all get to hear that Tokyo drift. Like, that was insane. I don't know if you guys could heard that. That was a loud one. My man probably blew his engine from that. But what, like I was saying, continue with the Swallowtail guy. We see that pretty much he's like, you know, I met my wife, and then, you know, I started working at her shop, and I started making clothes, and, you know, I just like it. Like, I'm very happy with it. And, you know, I always thought to myself, like, I was never able to tell my father, like he was never able to hear that I became successful. It's like, honestly, I don't care whether he cared. And that's the thing that I think like the guy was trying to spill onto Gojo, was like, you know, do what you have to do. Screw what people might think. Follow your heart. Follow your feelings. Like, and if they don't listen, if they don't want to acknowledge you, guess what? Then you let them know, like, hey, I'm here and I'm gonna do my thing. And I think that was a great, you know, writing perspective from Fukuda, how we introduced once again a fan favorite, because I love this guy. This guy's always very chill, very insightful towards Gojo. I would say a sensei kind of figure towards Gojo, because he's been very important helping Gojo out when it comes to his cosplays. I mean, you look back to Zukutan, you look back at I forget the name, the bunny girl, and you know, many other cosplays like that. So, you know, he's very essential, and Gojo kind of looks up to him in that regard. So it's very nice to see not a fatherly figure, I would say, but a elderly figure that Gojo's very comfortable with, you know, be able to, you know, listen to him out, hear him out, and listen to, you know, all his conflict that he's dealing with. So I thought that was very sweet part in his behalf. And how we pretty much end the chapter is actually in a very shocking manner that I wasn't expecting, at least not in this chapter. We see, as the guy says, like, you know, if people don't want to listen to you, you gotta just tell them how it is and make them listen to you whether they want to or not, or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. And because Gojo's also, oh my bad, I'm misremembering. It's actually, he has a flashback of Marin, like when she says, like, hey, say what you want to say. Don't let anybody keep you down. Like, say what you have to say. Make sure you always tell that to people. And that's from like way earlier in the series, like the first couple of chapters, when Marin first meets Gojo, like, hey, speak your mind. And how do we end the chapter is that we have that flashback, and then we cut to automatically the present time, where Gojo seems to be either going to Nanchan's house, or she was waiting for him outside of his. No, it's actually he's going to her house, I believe, because I know the layout for Gojo's house, and that did not look like Gojo's house at all. So yeah, Gojo actually went up to Nanchan's place, and she happens to be getting inside, and we see the stare down. And I practically wouldn't call it a stare down, because they're not like maliciously looking at each other, but they are staring at each other. So I guess it is a stare down, yet not a stare down, whatever you want to call it. But we see pretty much is, you know, Gojo seems to, you know, take in what Marin said to heart, and he's gonna actually go through with it, and, you know, let her know, like, hey, I got a piece of my mind that I gotta tell you. Because we've seen that Gojo has held this whole thing inside, where, you know, Nanchan, like, the things that those words really hurt him up to this day in his life. And it seems like he's finally gonna explode and let them out, not in a malicious way. I just think he's gonna, like, you know, telling her, like, hey, you're wrong, I can do whatever I want, I'm happy doing my things. And he's probably gonna be like, hey, I'm happy that you tried to help me out back in the day, but you talking down about my Hina doll making, that was not cool. And I'm sure she's gonna apologize for it. I know this is a big confrontation. I think this is what we're gonna have happen next chapter. And if for some reason we cut back to Marin's point of view, I think we're all gonna be mad, because this is a scene that we all been wanting to see, which is the Nanchan Gojo confrontation. And I think that Fukuda is definitely gonna deliver when it comes to an emotional, heavy lifting scene between these two characters that we have been, you know, for many chapters now. I mean, the entirety of the series up to now, actually, speculating whether they were ever going to reunite and have a conversation. And it seems like they are, whether, you know, it's going to be next chapter or next couple of chapters, whatever the case, it's definitely happening, and I'm all, you know, very excited for it. Now, with all that being said, what do you guys think about this week's chapter? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more My Dress Up Darling, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.